Justin Gaethje reacts to being the underdog in his interim title fight against Paddy Pimblett and breaks down the matchup. While Topuria is taking care of some personal business, Dana and the brass decided to create another temporary title at lightweight, which also doesn't involve the #1 contender. While the decision to sideline Tsarukyan might have come as a surprise to some, the reason behind it doesn't need any explanation to those familiar with UFC's dislike and distrust of Arman. To go with specifically Justin and Paddy was certainly a controversial decision, but lately Dana's been clearly demonstrating that his priorities lie with the entertainment value, thus commercial success potential of events and specific matchups, and the issue of merit isn't that high on that list. There's no doubt they're hoping for Pimblett to get the win, for his rivalry with Topuria to culminate in a massive title fight showdown. But Justin, who's one of the most reliably entertaining fighters on the roster, has plans of his own. Here's how he sees the fight going.
People telling me I can't do something is the reason I'm still here. You know, obviously the people that have believed in me keep inspiring me to continue, but it's ultimately the people that are telling me that I'm going to fail or don't have it that push me to get up in the morning and light the fire under my ass. And so people don't understand how crazy this game is. You know, it's just such a crazy game. It's such a short amount of time. And in the grand scheme of things, it's a blimp. Being underdog, I think I've been underdog out of my 14 fights at least 9 or 10 times, and I've won the majority of those. You know, I think I've lost 2 or 3 times as an underdog. So I do love being an underdog. I prefer to be an underdog. And I do think that, you know, recency bias plagues us humans every single time. So Paddy's, you know, with his aggression and his hunger, I think this is going to be same as every other Michael Johnson type fight where I might get rocked a couple times, but my grit and tenacity and will to win is going to, you know, overcome. So I'd rather, you know, he wants both bonuses. That's the difference between age. Now I just want one bonus, performance of the night.
Michael Bisping and Paul Felder comment on the potential trilogy bout between Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili, also discussing the Georgian former champ's 4th weight cut in a year, possibly having something to do with his loss in the rematch. The Machine getting dethroned was a really big deal, considering his unprecedented run at bantamweight and the dominance he displayed in his overall body of work at the weight class. But perhaps even more interestingly, he lost to a fighter who he dominated the first time they got locked in the octagon, and it wasn't competitive at all. The injury claims and other such excuses from Jan's team in an attempt to explain that performance are one of the many previous instances of Merab's opponents who have come out with the same rhetoric after their losses to him. But what he managed to do, unlike O'Malley for example, is showcase a completely different type of performance and beat Merab via decision in their second meeting. The fight was competitive, and given their 1-1, Dvalishvili's certainly fighting for the title whenever he comes back to settle the score once and for all. Here's what Bisping and Felder think about what took place.
The 4 defenses in a calendar year, right? It takes its toll. Mentally, physically, the fights, the training camps, the pressure, the interviews, the everything, you know. Did that cause Merab to be a little less explosive, a little less powerful, a little burned out? What do you think?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think there's got to be an element of that, right? I don't care who you are, even Merab. At a certain point, you fight that many times, these 25-minuters, these grueling training camps, a guy that never seems to take a day off, never seems to slow down, your body's going to show a little bit of fatigue. And he still looked damn good. So the fact that he went out there and didn't look like he was just completely gassed or just overtrained going into it shows how much of an animal this guy is. But I am curious to see, okay, now you take a rest, you both go away, you come back again. What does that fight look like? And I think this is a rubber match that I don't think anybody is going to be upset about. I know Petr was maybe poking at him that he's got work to do, but I think he came out recently and said, listen, if they want it to be that he gets an immediate rematch, then of course I'm going to give it to him.
With Khamzat Chimaev's recent announcement about his decision to move up to light heavyweight after just one title defense at middleweight, some new details regarding that plan and the reasons behind it came to light, and some of them are concerning, especially for his fans. As ESPN tries to squeeze out whatever they can from the UFC before their deal comes to an end, we've been getting more and more fighter interviews on their channel, with the most recent one being a conversation with Chimaev where he revealed his intention to move up a division after one more fight and called out Alex Pereira again.
I can fight Strickland, or I can fight the leader, or I don't know, whoever. A lot of options. But I want to, for sure, one more fight. I'm going to roll one more weight class up.
Yeah.
One more fight, and I will go up next weight class.
one more, only one more, and then you want to move up.
His comments about leaving the division so soon wouldn't be very pleasing to hear for fans who want to see him matching up with the likes of Imavov, Strickland, Hernandez, and others. But the reason he's moving up is likely due to a much more serious issue than a preference to chase Pereira for the biggest fight possible. In an interview to a Russian outlet, Khamzat's friend and teammate Guram Kutateladze revealed that Chimaev had serious health issues before his fight against Duplessis, with him even getting hospitalized in a heavy condition just weeks before the fight, all due to the weight cut. It was so difficult and taxing on his body that it seems he's decided he's not going to do that again more than one time.
К нам приехала скорая помощь, к нам в квартиру и забрала Хамзата в больницу. То, что случалось 2 раза, то есть тотально 3 раза за 2 недели, 2-3 недели. И да, отравился, были головные боли, очень жесткие. И, к сожалению, так все произошло.
Chael Sonnen comments on the possible showdown between Islam Makhachev and Kamaru Usman in what will be the Dagestani's first title defense in his new weight class whenever the UFC chooses to book him. Despite there being multiple prospects with some positive momentum at welterweight like Prates, Morales, and Gary, the Usman fight is still arguably the most competitive out of all other possibilities, not including Shavkat Rakhmonov, whose comeback timeline we're not yet really aware of. Kamaru has got the wrestling pedigree to offer Makhachev's offensive grappling the highest degree of resistance out of all the other contenders who could be chosen instead of Kamaru, all of whom are strikers. That's the most important part of this dynamic and likely the reason for Usman being the fan favorite as the next challenger. Whether his out-of-prime version can do the job and reclaim his old belt is a different discussion, but he should prove himself as a formidable opponent regardless of the outcome. Chael talks about this matchup possibly materializing soon.
What's next for Islam? Prates is a big star. Guy, you keep on playing this game. I am firmly, I'm not even on the fence, I am firmly on the idea of Kamaru Usman. And I was having this discussion with some other fighters, and somebody brought this up, which was you have 3 parties involved. You got to look at Islam, you got to look at Islam's opponent, and you got to look at the UFC. And they were saying from the UFC's perspective, they asked the question, they didn't answer it. They posed a question. Is Kamaru the right move for the UFC? And the whole reason that came up is Kamaru had done an interview. It was offhand. It wasn't meant to be literal, but I did see the interview, and he said that he would like to win the belt and not fight again, not defend it. I believe he even said go up to 185 and then, fight for that belt. And so that becomes a thing. Well, do you want to give a guy a world title fight that doesn't want to do 2 and 3 more matches, that doesn't want to come in and defend the belt?